I now request the Roundtable moderator and esteemed panel experts to kindly proceed to the agenda room for the start of Roundtable second, themed Leadership and Change Management, Leading Institutional Change Towards Future Readiness.
So before we go ahead, it's 5 minutes as I informed for each one. So I would be starting with the order which I placed you all into. Mr. Rakesh is a surprise guest for us actually, so he'll be the last one to point for. And there is one of the panelists who's not going to attend is what I was informed, but again I was told that she may be joining us. In case she comes, she will be the last one to take up the question. Okay? So we will ensure that we stick to the time because that's something which is very important to all of us. And I'm a maths teacher, so technically, so very precise. Right? Okay, good. I am also maths also. Okay, so that's really nice. So, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, ready. Okay, I would want to start the session with a quote which says that the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Very rightly said. It's all depends upon how we prepare today. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen over here. Welcome to the panel discussion on leadership and change management, leading institutional changes towards future readiness. We live in a time where change is always there existing and it's something which is constant. Educational institutes are being asked to prepare learners for jobs, skills and challenges that don't even exist. That's what, just a while ago, if you were there in the hall, Dr. Mahesh was sharing about the same. In this context, leadership is not just about maintaining systems, it's about envisioning transformation, building resilience, and inspiring collective action. Today, our distinguished panelists will share their perspectives and experiences how leaders can successfully guide institutions to change while ensuring they remain future ready. So, to start, let's explore with future readiness. Really meaning, what does it really mean in an educational institute? For that, I welcome our first panelist, Dr. Jayita Ganguly, Principal from SPK Jain Futuristic Academy, Kolkata. Ma'am is a distinguished educationist with over 15 years of experience across India and abroad, which is US. Holding a doctorate in education, she has led prestigious CBSE and international schools as principal, earning accolades such as the Educator Honor Roll Award in US, Vivekananda Adir Samman by the Times Group, and Rabindranath Tagore National Award for Principals. She also serves as an honorary advisory board member at Manipal University, Kolkata. Welcome on the panel, ma'am. The question to you is, what does it mean for a school to be future ready? And how can a leader balance today's challenges while preparing for tomorrow's uncertainty? You can use your mic. I think I should have also used it.
Do I need the mic or?
I think it's better.
I hope it's on, right?
It is.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Shanti ma'am, for such a kind introduction. So, I believe that we are on quorum here to understand the importance of the paradigm shift that has happened, and we are all in agreement that education is the passport to future. I think there is no second opinion on that. And if we stem from that ideology, then it is imperative for us as educationists to empower our students with the future challenges. And I think it is quite safe to say that 20 years from now, humanity is likely to encounter challenges such as dearth of natural resources, drastic climate changes, the population explosion in some parts of the world, which again leads to a lot of other concerns. Also, the automation and how the artificial intelligence is taking over, that also may be a factor. Apart from that, I think we can all safely say that mental health will become an issue of of angst and anguish as the world is leading towards gradual mechanization and digitalization taking over. And of course, the geopolitical concerns, the instability which is already there today, it's safe to extrapolate from there that it will become even more deeper. So then now the question is that having a curriculum which is hardcore dependent upon performance on academics, the core subjects of sciences, art, mathematics and languages, is it relevant enough? Or do we need to think differently? And like I started, we already have realized that there is a need for that paradigm shift from being a content-heavy curriculum to a curriculum that focuses on the competencies beyond academics. And that is what a futuristic school desires to do, desires to establish. Ensure that students are empowered with skills such as creativity, innovation, collaboration, digital knowledge, and of course mental wellness. So keeping that in mind, I think if we have that vision in mind, automatically the curriculum, the shape and the face of the curriculum becomes very clear. Like if we are thinking about the dearth of natural resources, then of course resourcefulness and sustainability become important threads in the futuristic curriculum. If you're thinking of mental anguish to be an epidemic a few years later, then definitely mental wellness is pivotal in any curriculum, in any school for that matter. Similarly, innovation and thinking of how to survive with global acceptance, all these points become very essential. And of course, because we are dealing with artificial intelligence taking over a lot of our jobs and a lot of our domain, how to thrive with it, how to use it, optimize it to the best of our ability, that also becomes an essential part of our curriculum. So, futuristic school in my mind is a place, as Rabindranath Tagore had probably envisioned it several years back, a place where the mind is without fear, the head is held high, and where knowledge is free, and the world has not been lost into dreary desert sand of dead habits. I mean, it's a philosophical approach, but I think it still holds very true. A school where there is a shift from being a teacher-centered classroom to a student-centered classroom. A school where teachers feel that their needs of learning are given as much importance to the students' needs. A school where professional development is taken very seriously, where teachers are not scared of being creative, of moving out of their comfort zone. They're encouraged to take the liberty and doing something very different. And I feel that a school which will have a lot of avenues for holistic development, and the student is free to make a choice regarding not only their academics but also post-scholastics, and also assessments are very holistic in nature. It is very important that assessments also are molded in a certain way where a student feels that they are gauged in a very fair, in a very holistic overall angle. Now, all this, sounds very good on paper, but how to establish it in practice? That is where I think, ma'am, your next part of the question was that what are the challenges? And yes, I run an experiential school myself, and I know that parents, they listen to me wide-eyed. As I'm telling all these tales, they listen to me at the end, and they're like, "But Joyita, board exams ka kya hoga?" Like this is the question that I'm faced thrown into very often, because the biggest challenge, the biggest challenge as an educationist that I've faced is dealing with the resistance from stakeholders. Adaptability doesn't come easy. And whether it is the internal stakeholders, like sometimes convincing members of the management to get the funding done or get the vision geared towards this kind of experiential learning, or whether it is the teachers who are kind of rigid and we're like, okay, ma'am, but what about syllabus completion? So if you're telling that, first the activity and then the concept, experiential learning, inferential learning, all that sounds very good. but what about syllabus completion? What about board exams? And parents look at you with complete disbelief when you tell them that you're preparing their kids for life and not just for the board exams. So this, I believe, is are the greatest challenges that lie in front of the educationists, to balance both, because you cannot refute what they have been trained or what our minds have been made to believe all these years. And it is important to acknowledge that, accept the resistance, and kind of work with it towards towards an organic future that convinces people that yes, it is not mutually exclusive. We are working towards adaptability. Yes, our students are, maybe they are creating a movie, a freelancing movie to showcase their understanding of the digestive system. Completely possible. Or maybe they're comparing the circulatory system with the rivers and the tributaries of India. And that does not mean that they will not be able to ace the questions, the descriptive questions that come on a test. And even the NEP supports the need of skill-based education these days. So I think balancing these both, working towards professional development, having one common vision which threads the management, the leadership at any level, the students and the teachers, and work on consistently. I'd like to add that consistency is the key word here. Whether it is looking at a long-term 5-year goal or breaking it down into short-term quarterly goals, or my everyday lesson plans that I'm looking into, unless I'm convinced that this is the future and this is the humane approach to education, where it is not only inclusive, but it is also working together and to prepare towards life and towards wellness of all. It is extremely difficult to take all these beliefs into practice. So that is what I believe in, that, small every day I take each day at a time. And I go by my convictions, not just in theory, in practice. And learning visibility is extremely important, that this is what our students are doing. And when you lay down that, like last month, they made a rainwater harvesting model. And that was, something that the parents were happy with, because they're seeing those ideas come into practice. When they see things come into practice, when they see that the students, their words are becoming confident, that is when they gain confidence as well. So I think that is all. I would like to wrap up my exposition.
Thank you, Vivanta. You understood this.
Actually, I hope I didn't cross
not at all, not at all. So just wrapping up what ma'am says, majorly she looks forward, according to her, a school which is future ready is one which is ensuring that there is a lot of experiential learning which is given to the children. They are given space to experiment. Teachers are fearless about creativity. They work out of the box. And even the mental well-being of the students is taken care. Rather, every stakeholder is taken care. And challenges, putting across in one word, coming to a common vision is something which we all need to look forward for. When we are coming towards to one vision, having consistency along with that is also equally important. Thank you very much, ma'am. Having understood what exactly a future-ready school looks like and what kind of challenges we look forward for, it's very important. Leadership and a person who has a vision and who can move forward. So for this, I would request our second panelist, Mrs. Deepika Sharma, Principal, Maxford School, Dwarka, New Delhi. She's here.
She's not here.
Then I will move to the next question. Sonia Ganguly, right? Yeah. So, Mrs. Sonia Ganguly, she is the Vice Principal of Shivalika Public School, Chandigarh. Ma'am is a visionary leader with 25 plus years of experience.
Ma'am, you can address me by my name.
Okay, it would be nice. She has guided thousands of students, led initiatives like CBSE workshops and girl parliaments, and actively promotes NEP 2020. With her passion for students' growth and women empowerment, she continues to inspire excellence. Wonderful, ma'am. We are all on the same page with you. So your question is, how can leaders overcome resistance? Because as Joyita ma'am said, that we have everyone has a different vision. Coming together for one purpose, for one goal is very challenging. How can a leader overcome resistance and build a culture of innovation without losing core values, especially when technology adoption feels intimidating at times?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the question and my greetings to everybody. So, Shanti ma'am, is it okay if I take a little help from my teacher? Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So, to begin with, let us understand what is resistance and where does it come from. So, resistance to any change that is happening around is very natural, yet we need to move out of our comfort zone, accept the change, and forge ahead. Also, resistance shows that there are certain areas which do need our support, which do need our help. So, it's not that bad of a sign. It's a good sign, but probably work in the right direction. So, to begin with, I would like to take example of COVID time. So the schools were shut for a good 2 months and there was no way ahead. When I believe overnight we were told that yes, we can shift to online teaching. Initially, there was a lot of apprehension, maybe from parents. Parents were reluctant that screen time would increase. Students were reluctant that they would not get individual attention. And then, of course, teachers, a lot of reluctance came from that side also. We are not familiar with the screen, we are not familiar with the technology. So a lot of reluctance, but in no time, probably in matter of a week or so, we all adapted. And we became so proficient at online teaching that now every time we have a school closed, we can take example of these rains, we very quickly switch over to online teaching and there is no resistance. So through this example, what I want to say is change is very pertinent, it's very important. But yes, right direction to it comes from the leaders and all the stakeholders. So let's understand like why do people resist? What is the reason that why we all want to resist any change? First reason is it is pushing us out of our comfort zone. Next, we have our doubts and we have our fears. Like for this online teaching, I myself was very nervous when I had to take because I was not comfortable. But over years, we all have become comfortable. So it is like going out of comfort zone is one thing that causes a lot of unwillingness, that causes a lot of reluctance from all corners. So now, what all changes have happened over the years? Changes like we have switched to technology, we have switched to experiential learning, we have switched to smart boards. So all those changes are a little scary, not for everybody, yes, but for many of the teachers, yes, they are. But slowly and steadily, they all are evolving. Now, next is what is the role of leaders in all this? How do we shed off this hesitancy or this reluctance? First of all, leaders themselves must be convinced that whatever change we are bringing, it's important, it's beneficial, and it's for a larger good. Once we are convinced, we can take the decision ahead to the stakeholders, we can take the decision ahead with the teachers. But yes, first we need to be convinced that yes, it is going to be beneficial for everybody. Then, of course, every school should have, like I can vouch for that, my school, like we have a growth mindset. So if the school is already into innovation, if it's already growing, accepting and taking ahead any change becomes little easy. So a lot of reluctance can go there because we are already evolving, we are already accepting and adapting a lot of changes. So as leaders, we need to facilitate any kind of change that's there with a positive and a growth mindset. So wrapping up this topic, I would like to say it's the role of leaders who inspire, encourage and implement with faith and not with stress. So yes, the next theme here, ma'am, was how do we encourage innovation without compromising on core values? So again, we need to understand what are the core values that we are trying to bring in our students. I believe we want them to be honest, we want them to be respectful, we want them to be disciplined, we want them to be empathetic, and we want to bring the culture of inclusivity in school. So these are few core values that are there. They are a foundation of any school. Yet we cannot ignore technology, which will give wings to these core values. So what innovations I can think of are your AI, that is coming big time in school. Then of course digital classrooms are there. Then skill-based education is there. Then we have project-based learning. So all these are the new innovations that we are seeing in schools. So the point is, as leaders, how do we encourage innovation without losing the core values? So I want to give few examples here. Say we want to bring in some stories, some folk tales. How we can do it? We can do it through digital medium. So here we create a balance between the two. Similarly, we all have school innovation cells are there. So they can produce, they can come up with some apps that are towards sustainability, that promote some green energy, waste management. So that way we strike a balance between innovation and the core values. They know that what responsibilities they have towards their society. They are empathetic, and yet they are doing all this through technology. So lastly, here on this topic, I would say that innovation is something that gives us wings, but values they give us roots, and we should be rooted.
Very well said. So putting things across, like Sonia ma'am said, according to her, change is something which is pertinent, so it is unavoidable. But with the change comes fear, because we have to go out of the comfort zone. Hence, there is always a fear which is there. But to come out of the fear, it will be ideal if the leaders become the role models. They accept the change first and are confident about it. That is when the faith comes into the team. That's where, with a growth mindset, we can evolve over through all these challenges. Finally, coming to the core values, if we can instill with the AI which is coming in, a little bit of digital integrity, I think that would connect with the core values also. Maybe that's how Sonia ma'am is also trying to put it across too. Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. I'm going to my next panelist. Now, having understood the outcome of resistance is only a part of the journey, planning and execution, we also need to have planning, which is very, very important. So my next question goes to Mrs. Shweta. Shweta, is it correct? I'm pronouncing correctly. Mrs. Shweta, principal of Delhi Public School, Bora. Right? Abohar. Okay, thank you, ma'am. According to ma'am, leadership is action. It's not a position. Yes. Leadership is an action, not a position, not a chair where you can sit and relax. A philosophy that resonates deeply with her approach to leadership, with over 17 years of rich experience in teaching and leadership. She moved from a teacher to a principal, driven by a commitment to educational excellence. She believes in empowering others through support, guidance, and opportunities for growth. By pushing boundaries, she aims to inspire a culture of innovation and collaboration that benefits the entire educational community. Welcome to the panel, ma'am. And the question to you is, how can a leader drive sustainable change in education while balancing global best practices with local context?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, ma'am, for providing this platform and share my best practices with you on the leadership.
That I think we need to thank Brainfeed and team. I am just one among you.
So I believe we have spoken enough about the vision. Whenever we are thinking to bring any change, I believe that the stakeholders should be told beforehand why we are bringing a change. What is the need? So that everyone can work with the same goal and they can achieve the same vision that the institution or anyone has set for the organization. So when we talk about that sharing the vision with the stakeholders, why it is important so that they can take the ownership they can take the accountability, and we can work with the same pace, driven by the same motive. Also, when we say we have given the chance to the stakeholders what we are going to achieve within the coming time too, I believe then comes the need to analyze whether they have the skills for that, whether they are ready or not, what kind of training do they need, what kind of support do they need. So based on that need analysis, once the training is given, I believe whatever they are doing, then we need to have that check also to track the progress, that where we have reached and where we have to move, how we can move forward. Once the tracker is being done, the progress is being, I think, taken or driven into. So then also we need to celebrate those mini successes also, so that the people can get motivated that they are doing the right job. When we talk about how this process can be set, I believe there should be a organizational culture to be built. There should be the procedures, routine procedures, as well as the policies, so that the people are very much clear that the consistent efforts and the continuous efforts are being implemented. So when we say how many elements are there, how we can bring this process, bring this initiative for a change, I believe there are multiple elements that a leader can use. But if I have to talk about me as a leader, I preferred Porter's 8-step model. Because when we say it's step-by-step execution, step-by-step evaluation, that brings the motive very clear to everyone. For that, I believe we need to make it very clear to the community what we are going to do and how we are going to do. Once this is made clear to the audience or the stakeholders, then step by step we can move. Maybe we can take the preferences from the stakeholders, how many are ready to bring this change with us. Maybe it's a team of a few members who are ready now, but with a team of a small gathering, they can influence the other roles. So they can outreach community. It means when the team is expanding, so we can observe the collaborative efforts as well as the teamwork, because this small win will definitely bring a greater success to the community. Moving forward, the next question that you have mentioned, that what kind of global practices can be brought into picture. If we have to talk about that, firstly we need to see to whom we are communicating, what is the local context, which kind of audience or the stakeholders do we have, what kind of adaptability they'll be bringing in, what kind of acceptance do they have. Once all these homework as well as the research work is done, then definitely I think we can move forward whatever the initiative we have taken towards the change process. If I have to wrap up this topic, so I think by the end I would only say that if we have seen this vision, so definitely that vision should be made too much clear to the stakeholder that everyone is moving in the set direction and consistent efforts are being implemented towards the right approach, so that we can see that whatever we have seen, whether we have achieved that vision or not, the efforts are there continuously.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, we should actually, in fact. So, I mean, wrapping up what ma'am said, ma'am strongly believes that strategic planning can happen when you take in all the stakeholders into confidence. And for us to ensure that we share our vision and bring them on board with whatever vision we are moving ahead with. So for that, she feels that it is very important to have a need analysis. So based on the need analysis is where we have to progress. And as we are progressing, we need to have trackers to check our progress too. She strongly believes in organizational culture, which is very important for any kind of strategic planning. For her, she strongly believes in Kota's 8-step model, which she feels that it is going to help all the stakeholders at a large. So with that, I move to my next panelist, about whom I don't have much of information. Mr. Rakesh Sharma. I don't know why it is written as Mr. when you're from the defense, whether it has to be a colonel or whatever your rank was, X, I would say. So it is indeed a pleasure and a surprise to have you on board, Mr. Rakesh Sharma, who is a consultant for UDGAM School for Children, which is there at Ahmedabad. So since he's from the defense background, definitely I understand that he can make a better impact on how things work because he has seen challenges which maybe most of us have not even dreamt about too. Very true. So my question to you would be, how can schools measure the real impact of change and use stakeholders' feedback to guide continuous improvement? So how is that we are going to make a real impact of change and take the feedback of the stakeholders so that it would help the school? Over to you, Mr. Rakesh. Before that, I would appreciate if you can share a few things about yourself too, please.
Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. On a lighter note, if I would have had not so strict maths teacher in my life, I would have been either a physicist, right, or an astronomer. But I think maths has an angle attached to it, which means you have to be strict. And she has been strict from the word go as I entered the room. And she continues to be strict with me. So nothing has changed in schools, is what I can say while we are discussing change management.
Mr. Rakesh, I think you should become a student once again and be my student.
And get scared of the math teachers. I actually was writing down because of this, and this is all in good stead. This is nothing meant right. Metaphorically speaking, I actually come in here to this panel. I am not an education. I am not an academic. I am through and through Indian Army professional, and for most part of my 35 years, I have been in the army. So I have been part of startup teams of Oracle, India, Wipro, Tata Group, in the corporate life that I have. Now, a little about myself. My last post was I was the custodian of the Tata Code of Conduct, which, as all of us know, right, is the backbone on which the Tata Group functions. As the chief ethics counselor for the Tata Group, I was responsible for putting on the table and deploying the code of conduct and the values for 16,300 employees that I had, 200 in the country. I represent Tata Teleservices, which has about 200 offices in the country, with 23 circles that we were participating in, with the mobility, the phones that we used to have for the Tata Group. Now, coming to my experience as why in the schools I am, this is because of the no political affiliation is with here, being an army professional, right, and also being an Indian to the core. But little that I know of is this idea came into this trustee sitting in Hyderabad. Udugam is the name of the school that I represent, and the trustee is no more than 45 years old, or nearly 20 years younger than me. But he had known me through the contacts at Bombay House, which is when he asked Bombay House colleagues who are the people retiring out of. As chief ethics counselors, 3 names were shortlisted, one was mine. Rest is history. I post my superannuation at 60. I worked with Udgam as their chief ethics counselor and custodian of the code of conduct. Point 3 or 4 points. Today I'm responsible. They have 11 schools under their belt, about 23,100 students. But keeping on with the way we discuss things and we do the deployment, I asked them for giving me Big Four, which is what 10,700 schools, 900 odd teachers, and the support staff for deploying the code of conduct. We have a 5-year plan, as what we call it, a 5YP. We have deployed 1 YP as of now. This is my 18th month with them. Started on December 2023, and the journey has been one. So, of what I have little heard about, what's in the conference room that we are all in, where my inputs, right, are needed in here are for a request to each one. And this is as per the NEP 2020 guidelines as well that we have heard. Teaching values to the students is like what ma'am has covered in her conversations, is something that we miss out between maths, physics, English, science. Values is what today Udgam has taken lead in. I don't know, because are they the land of Gandhi? I don't know if they are the land of Sardar Patel. I don't know if they are the land of Narendra Modi, or if I don't know if they are the land which produced Jamshedji Tata, the founder of the Tata. I don't know that. But definitely there is something in the air, because people who I spoke about are people. Not that many corporates don't represent the right values, but I think if one name comes up to our mind, it is the Tata Group. If one name comes to the mind of the world, right, it is Mahatma. So the values are something, right, that I'm working with this school for deployment, with its 10,700 odd students. I also cover 990 teachers. I cover a support staff of close to 500 contract staff, which is my Bhaiyas and DB, who typically are my hands, the drivers and the housekeeping staff. And I also cover part of the parents. Because if for the 8 hours that students spend in the school, it is the 16 hours that they spend back home. And that being that, as I speak with humility, I think on a scale of 5, we are somewhere between 2 and a 2.5. Because the journey is a 10-year long journey. The 12 years that I was with the Tata Group, I don't think so, right, even managed to reach my 200 points. Because only through the modes of communication that we have today, the digitalization that we speak about, the concept of AI that we had, because we were a telecom company, I had the tools available with me. I had 13 tools to deploy my code of conduct. Today, this team at Udgam has actually surpassed my expectations. They are using 24 tools of communication. The music teachers are part of my communication tool. The computer teachers are part of my communication tool. My sports teachers are part of my communication tool. My maths teachers and English teachers are part of my communication tool. And this is a top-down approach. Even in Tata Group, it's a top-down approach. Mr. Ratan Tata, God bless his soul, was the person who designed para 11 of the Tata Code of Conduct. He had 25 paragraphs, in which it was the conflict of interest was very, very clear to him. Conflict of interest is a value, that you can either be part that side of the line or this side of the line. And with due respect to both the souls, Mr. Cyrus Mistry and Mr. Tata, it was that line that Mr. Mistry had crossed. Thakurji Palanji was a company which was into brick and mortar. We were Tata Projects, which was into brick and mortar Tata House. But while this was happening, it was caught on time. And that it had to be. Then the same treatment that is given to an assistant manager was given at that point of time. Nothing much is known because it was between the two gentlemen. But being the custodian of the code of conduct and working closely with Bombay House, little that I know of and sharing in confidence. So that to me, right, is what is of interest to me when I speak education. That if we do not make these values, ma'am, put it across in a little different format, but what we at Udgam are doing we are calling it the trail. Because each one of us are here today in the job that we are in here to leave a legacy. And if we do not have a trail to leave a legacy, then there is no legacy. The trail that we are referring to is the T of trust, as to how the students trust their parents and trust the teachers. The R of respect, how they respect their parents, how they respect their teachers. The A of accountability, of what job is given to them as to how the teachers and the students work towards as one team and are accountable to the organizations or to the teachers or to the parents. I is the I of integrity that we are inculcating in them, and L is the loyalty towards, it begins with the school, the teachers, and then goes up to the nation. Now this trail is something that today members of the cross-functional task force teams called the CFTF, as I just elucidated, between my teachers, between my support staff, using both the religious events that we do, the last being the Janmashtami, wherein we spoke about the values of one of the trail values as to how that was put on the table with the Janmashtami, how in Independence Day, the freedom fighters that we had, the principles of loyalty were put on the table. So to me, if we can inculcate this feeling, it's a newer concept, but that it speaks to NEP 2020. If most of us who are today the leaders in different schools that are sitting in this room can speak about this, I would say we would not just be leaving a legacy of good students, but we will be leaving legacy of good citizens in this country, and that is what my little contribution is.
I'll take another minute to ask you one more question, Mr. Chairman,
Not
if
the
you don't
matter.
mind. Absolutely no. Since you are a chief ethics officer at the school,
Yes.
right? And part of my question also says, how do you actually use the feedback of the stakeholders? Because all of us are from educational institutes. We know that from the parents, generally when we talk about the stakeholders, we majorly talk about the parents. So they get a lot of feedback. And most of it, practically is not applicable. Being a chief officer of ethics, how would you rate that and how would you incorporate it in a school which exclusively focuses on building in values? So how would you, share your thoughts on that, please?
Ma'am, the conversations, if they are not happening both vertically and horizontally, vertically I mean with the stakeholders and horizontally I mean with students, I would say the very deployment or the very concept of values or code of conduct is there. So there is something called a third party mechanism of reporting. The third party mechanism of reporting, ma'am, sits in London. It's a 4-digit number which people would have to dial in at any point of time and can speak in Hindi or English. The people who are sitting in there are not related to Udgam in any fashion whatsoever. You can speak from home, you can speak while driving, you can speak while you're playing, you can speak while you're in the classroom. You can speak whatever be the issue, but you have to give evidence on the table. The same thing as a case number 1 comes back to the people who are nominated to read through that. There is a cross border that happens, which means that if school 1 has an issue against which this particular feedback has come in, school 3 or school 4, the LECs or the school location ethics counselors is what we call them. Because unless and until you don't have an org structure, it's not a one-man army. So school 3 will investigate, or members of school 3 too will investigate against school 1 of what happened, what's the feedback about, what is it that there is issues to learn, and then subsequently come out with a report which will not be talking about people unless and until it is honesty and integrity in the question mark, but will be talking about the process improvement. Basis that, a card as a postcard is created, which is called the C of concern, the A of action now that there is a feedback on the table, the R of responsibility, which is primary responsibility being a principal, but secondary responsibility being of a specific teacher, and D being the day to close. That entire thing, right, is tabulated, is subsequently shared back with the same agency, which subsequently on a callback from that person concerned, if it was anonymous, can tell that that's the investigative report of 45 days. 45 days is typically, ma'am, not a number which comes in, it is actually the D-day of, and this comes from the pot, is the D-day of report. That's the D-day, because that's the day we report. D+3, it has to go to the people, right, of who are to investigate. D+10, the evidence is worked upon. D+25, the report is submitted. D+29, the report is debated upon. And subsequently, D+40, a draft investigation report goes. D+45, it has to go back. Unless and until, ma'am, the feedback has a loop closure, there is no point of having a feedback. Now, this is just to say it on the left flag. Now, what's happening on the right flag? Because you spoke feedback. Now, it can all happen. Integrity is integrity of your transport system that you run. Who checked the transport system right before you put the lives of your students on the table? What is the process of checking? How cemented is that process? Now, that is the left flank of within the transport team, someone has to do that. But right flank is there are parents who are now telling me that the transport system sucks. Sorry for my parents. So there is a process. So that process which I just elucidated, right, is a third party for an ethics helpline, subsequently gets redrafted also to manage the feedback like this also, yeah? Because that is speaking to the trust the parent has on you while you are transporting your child. I can take this example to cafeteria. While I'm using these small little low-hanging issues list because I don't know much about education. While you teach maths, you teach science, People excel, people become Nobel laureates, but then who subsequently manages their food? Because we are responsible for home to home for them. As I just speak to you, ma'am, we also then get into the third aspect of health and welfare. Now, what happens to if some teacher subsequently collapses? One of the teachers collapsed. One of my students actually died in my 7th month being there. She had a heart attack at the age of 11. At the age of 11, she had a heart attack because the medical reports of what she was going through were not shared by the parents because it was a little disjointed family. So, teachers from school 3 and 4 investigated the case of one. It was widely reported in the newspapers in Hyderabad. And it was clarified that it was not anything to do with any assault. The CCTV coverage is to every nook and corner. Every nook and corner. That is where we use technology. So whether the police came in, whether the people at hospital were involved, there is a process now to check health and family. Now all that, ma'am, in my 18th month, and that's the last point, is shared with the parents. That's the largest stakeholders we spoke about. We tell them that we had 4 emergencies. We tell them that we actually also then did mock drills for 4 more. Because if a monkey bit one of my students, now there is nothing much I could have done. But then how fast or quickly did I evacuate them? So now the process that we have is in the 4 schools spread across Ahmedabad. The evacuation time is between 6.5 minutes to 9 minutes. How have we done that? Because in our first case of a real heart attack and the person losing a life, we actually looked at that it was 27 minutes, and 27 minutes were in no way acceptable. So we did mock drills, we have now got it down. Today there was a case when, again, today morning there was a case reported from one of the schools where this individual, one of the ayahs, the BB, she fell. Now she might be dehydrated, but the evacuation took 8 minutes. He was at the hospital. The husband said she has a problem, right? And subsequently she went back happy. So processes around food safety, processes around transport safety, processes around the safety as health and safety, right, are all inculcated into the trail of legacy. If we all today as academicians feel that this is important, which my trustee at the school in Ahmedabad felt so, I would say that we are not just creating then people with rote learning, we are also creating citizens of importance, right, with values in.
So I would conclude with what Mr. Rakesh Sharma said is, ultimately the crux of everything is ethics and morals. So even if we get a feedback from a stakeholder, it's very important and pertinent for us to ensure about the integrity of the feedback what we do and have a process to validate that feedback what we get it for. And I'm sure he has shared multiple examples which are in a real-time scenario most of us face through also. Thank you for sharing such valuable input, Mr. Sharma, despite not being from the education industry. Fauji man, Faujis. Now moving ahead, that we have understood how it is important to validate the stakeholders' feedback and all, we move to our next panelist, who's going to talk to us about collaboration as well as stakeholders' engagement too. So I would like to, invite Dr. Ashish Mittal, Principal of Indrapuram Public School, Ghaziabad. Dr. Ashish is a very passionate educationist, has over a decade of experience in academics as well as in administration. As a school principal at Indrapuram Public School, he has held transformative initiative fostering academic excellence and operational efficiency. He has also worked with quite a lot of CBSE connected work, where he was Center Superintendent, Chief Nodal Supervisor. He has also conducted NEET, CUT and UPSC exams. So Mr. Mittal has been into processes and has been taking care of quite a lot of processes in place with regards to CBSE too. He has just finished a workshop on SUFFLE for his teachers and has joined us. So my question to you over here is, Dr. Mittal, how can schools engage stakeholders both inside and outside the institutions. Inside, sometimes we think, but again, inside and outside. To balance external demands with internal aspirations for future readiness.
Thank you, ma'am, and my greetings to each one of you. I have heard very patiently all my dear co-panelists, and most of us are the practitioners. So it really matters the most when we are the practitioners and understand what is doable at a school system or at a school setup and what is practically not possible. Sometimes we speak so high in the conferences and the workshops, but at the same time, when it comes to the execution part at our own schools, it is not doable when we are going to execute or implement the same policy, whether it is given by our head offices, corporate offices, or the CBSE or ICSE, whatsoever board where we are affiliated from. Because this question is very, very pertinent about, I think everybody was talking about some more other points were related to the partnership or the collaboration between these with the stakeholders. Because according to me, gone are the days when the schools were on the top and they used to tell the parents and everybody, like students, that this will be taught and this is your syllabus and this has to be followed in such a manner. And nobody used to raise any question or any finger on these schools that why is it so and why is it not so, something like that. Now I think the days have come in where everybody has a voice and choice to speak on. Everybody means if I talk about the parents, they are well educated, not just educated, they are aware as well. The students are also very aware just because of the technology and the information. I should say the kind of flood everywhere which is there on the chat GPT and with Google. So everybody is kind of aware that what is going to happen and why it is not happening in the school. So if I talk about the external demands and the internal demands, but before what you started with the partnership, if I give you the real examples, what my school is doing, because I will not be talking about why it is important, why it is not important. I think everybody understand why collaboration and partnership is really important because it is actually the key to success, to attain success or to succeed ahead, especially when NEP 2020 was introduced. Not just introduced, and in true spirit, it is being implemented in such a manner because NEP is not something which is firstly introduced in India. It was there since ages, but the implementation part was actually missing in a true spirit. Now, when thanks to the government and the CBSE and other such affiliation bodies, if I give an example how we are collaborating with the stakeholders, we have initiated a program called PQ program. PQ means Parent Partnership Program, that is PPP. In this program, PQ program, we are having a partnership with the parents. Starting from the parent is coming to our school, at the time of admission, we are getting their information or their kind of a choice, why and how they can collaborate with schools, with our school. Why I'm using the word schools because we are a group of schools, so everybody is using the same practice. So what we are using, what we are actually implementing in the schools, every parent has an opportunity to collaborate with the school, whether because there are a lot of parents who have an expertise, maybe in the defense sector, maybe in the corporate sector, maybe in the science sector, maybe in the creativity, or maybe whatsoever. And there are many homemakers, lady homemakers as well, where they have that passion to teach children or to give some workshops or to train children, but they are sitting at home just for the sake of taking care of their families or the children. So we are giving them the chance to collaborate with us wherever interest they lie in. So once they are having this collaboration, they are coming to the school after filling this form and all, and we have created the data with us. And based on the data with us, we are always give them the chance not just to come to the school and organize some workshops, organize some sessions or training programs for the students, maybe for the teachers as well. They are rather coming to the school to take the substitutions as well. Why substitutions? Because they love to talk to children. They do not understand, they do not know how to train children, but they love to talk. And that is why we want them to come to the school and to talk to the children. Maybe just in a class where the students do not want to do any maths, physics, or something like that. So the kind of opportunities we are giving to them, not just to take sessions or training, we are giving them the opportunity to shake hands with us to organize the events as well. There are multiple events where the organizing team has the parents as well. So the parents are collaborating in such a manner where they have actually a voice, and this is why this is important. Sometimes the parents feel कि substitution करवा रहे हैं तो अपना काम बचा रहे हैं, but it is not like that. It is like when the parent connects with you or with the school, and that is where your role comes in as a leader. You have to make them convinced why it is happening, why we are initiating such things like. Because once the parents are connected with the school, I think they understand your ethos, the culture, and why you want to implement something. And especially nowadays, when there are a lot of policies coming in every day and night, the CBSE is circulating a lot of circulars. I think every day we are getting 3 to 4 circulars, right? And CBSE team was in my school today. The academic body from CBSE headquarters, I was sharing with them that do you guys have any spare time when you do not really initiate the circulars? So there are a lot of things when they are initiating something, how it is going to be implemented, because the parents cannot be bombarded with the circulars and with the notices, but they have to be educated, and that is why CBSE has added one topic for the CBSE training, that is called the educating parents about education. It is not just about to get them the degree. Education means what is important, what are the pillars of NEP 2020, how we can implement it, because there are handful schools which understand NEP, its vision, and how it is important, how it can be implemented. I keep visiting a lot of private schools. Just forget about government schools. There are a lot of private schools in the country which do not have even a basic infrastructure, and that is a fact. I can give you several examples. But when I talk about this partnership, I think academia partnership, industry partnership. I am the regional mentor of change in Niti Aayog as well. In fact, my school has an ATL as well. My school got the grant of 10 lakhs in the beginning and then 2 lakhs per year. Why? Because the Niti Aayog selected my school to set up the ATL, and ATL is actually giving the such students a chance to tinker with lot of things. And if I talk about the academy and partnership, there are multiple vendors which are doing a great job, and they're putting those stalls in such conferences, and they're doing a great job, but they are doing like freelancers or something like that. Once you collaborate with them, there is a flood again about such people, but you have to choose wisely where you want to partner with, right? And if I talk about, I'm just giving you a few examples of such partnerships. If I talk about the community partnership, we have one program called Samanvay, where the community people are free to collaborate with us, where they are coming for a lot of events. Community does not just mean our own parents, maybe the neighborhood people, maybe the family members of our parents, maybe the relatives or chacha tau bhai types of our parents. They're coming to participate in a lot of events at our school. So there are a lot of things, and I must say that external demand, if you talk about, external demand can be met with internal aspirations when people understand why it is important. Policies are numerous, not just the NEP is a policy. There are policies, I think we have not got any examination by laws since years. A booklet. Why? Because every third day, the examination bylaws is taking a change. That's what you just mentioned, the change. And that's why CBSE is also not in the position to create a booklet, because वो भी भूल रहे हैं कि वो क्या-क्या हमने change किया है. And that is where things are happening all around, right? There was a time when we had a booklet of examination bylaws and we used to quote that this is a clause. Now we have to explore which clause got changed and when. 4 days ago, the CBSE was telling us upper ID is very important. Now, after 2 days, upper ID is given a partial relaxation. There are a lot of changes. If you are not on WhatsApp on your IDs thoroughly, I think you are not just in a way to, yes, and that's why you have to collaborate. And by how we are collaborating, we are, I think 30% or 40% teachers of my school are directly related to CBSE's core team. They are working a lot of for supple item writers, lot of CBPs or lot of open book tests, which is also going to happen. My school is one of the schools where the pilot is happening for maybe I do not know whether you guys are aware or not. CBSE is going to give a paradigm shift in the class 10th board examination, not just two examinations for science, social science, and mathematics as well, where they will be having two different standards, not just basic and that competency based, where the pilot is happening at my school. So my class 10 children, this half yearly examination, the CBSE has given us the date sheet, and there are just 10 schools plus KVs this time, where we will be having a common examination, and the question paper for that examination will be coming from CBSE, and that's why we are partnering with CBSE, with parents and with students. So I have a lot of examples to give, but I think due to the paucity of the time, thanks to you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashish. Again, bringing things together. As per Dr. Ashish, it's very important. Our external collaboration basically depends upon our internal aspiration. So it's very important how we aspire. Based on our aspiration is where we can go ahead with collaboration. And generally the collaboration with the parents need not necessarily be for the students alone. It can be crossing the borders and coming towards the teachers also. And it would be nice if we can make the parents part of all the events which we organize. That would not only help them to understand how a school functions, but also understand what a school goes through in organizing an event. Thank you so much, Dr.
Can I add just one point?
Yes, please.
Very, very simple point. Usually we face one problem, that there is a set of parents who always create the problem for the schools. What we do, we make them the member of some committees, so that they are also the partner of the decisions in the school. And when there is a conflict on any point, हम उनको चेहरा बना देते, सर आप बताइए ना, हमारा डिस्कशन हुआ था, वही तो लड़ाई करवाते थे, अब लड़ाई खत्म हो जाएगी जब हमारा पार्टनर बन जाएंगे.
So he says, well, the cat, so you will be free from all the headache actually.
Yes, kind of.
So again, moving ahead, collaboration and stakeholder engagement is very important. But beyond that is personal reflection from the leader. So beyond strategies and collaboration, the personal experience of leader offers invaluable lessons for the journey ahead. For this, I would request our panelists, Mrs. Madhu Maini, Principal Jayashree Parivar High School, Jaipur. Ma'am is at the helm from 2002, I would say rather, shaping it into one of the Jaipur's most respected institutions. Over with 45 years in education, she is a visionary leader who champions innovation, inclusivity, and student well-being. Her initiatives from experiential learning to NGO collaboration and Jaipur literary festivals have empowered students to think critically and act responsibly. Under her guidance, the schools have earned top national rankings, and she herself has been honored with awards like Educator of the Year. She continues to inspire future-ready leaders with compassion, confidence, and purpose. Ma'am, welcome to the panel. And my question to you is, from your own journey, what lessons have you learned about leading change, and how do you stay adaptable for the future-ready leader?
Good evening, everyone. So a lot has been said on. Probably I'm a little, I'll have to bring it a little closer. I keep teaching that to the kids, but when it comes to yourself, you try to put it away. So a lot of it has been said about change, and we're talking about change management. That's the topic that we're on here. Leader is at the helm of all changes that need to be taken, or the changes that are required or desired. As ma'am said, change is pertinent. You just have to face the changes. So it's very important that the school is ready. You are ready as a leader to adapt to the changes. I think if I have to put it as probably as one word, I'm open to newness. The minute you see newness, it becomes you're a lifelong learner. It's a learning process. So, because every change will get something or the other new to you, and because there is a change in the society, the need for a change travels down to the schools. So you have to be a ready learner. You have to be agile. You have to be alert. You have to be open to new ideas. So in my school, I'm open to ideas. So for that, I have a lot of discussions, and I keep a very close connect with my teachers. It's a very emotionally driven school. So probably if you have to rate me professionally, I might not be rating it up high, but very emotionally driven school. So the teachers are actually at the helm of working. They're the ones who are connecting with children. And being a school, the children need to be, they're one of my biggest stakeholders. I would rate parents coming later. So it's the kids, at the helm of affairs. So the teachers, I keep giving them space to innovate. I have my student councils, innovation clubs. A lot of freedom is given to the children who are wanting to have something new. Discussions are on, and there are periods for that allotted. And so anything, students are, your windows to the future. So they think differently. Technology is coming. With COVID times, I took a lot of time to learn the digital tools, but these kids have gone far ahead. There's so much that I have to learn. So every time I have a young counsel coming to my room, there's something or the other, and I learn. So, which is of course expressed to them. It's a very open school. So then, as a result, like ma'am said, and everyone, all of us have agreed, the stakeholders, and next is the parents, parent community. We have these small groups of parents, like Sir said. So where there are a lot of discussions, we do involve the parents in the, in the vision. The vision will be setting a new goal, a changed goal, and now that needs to be, brought about. So once the parents have been kept, a group of parents who were willing, if they are kept in you have communicated to them well, the vision has been made clear to them, I think they take the ownership, they have that trust and faith. When you impose your decisions, there's a lot of resistance. And so the same way, because every time we have a meeting, there are suggestion boxes, the parents are expected to, they're requested to mail in case they say something, they have a thought or a suggestion. So once the trust and faith has been developed in the school, I think it becomes easy. So the students in the school hours are involved in the decision making. The parents at the other end, they are involved. So both of them together, I think, the teachers, it's a very happy, very discussive kind of an environment where things are open. And of course, I do a lot of networking. I read a lot. I keep myself updated with the NEP. And of course, as everybody's saying, it's, on a roller coaster ride, giving you instructions and giving you, So that's how, the readiness of the school for future. Adaptability is the word of the times.
Thank you so much, Mark. Putting your thoughts together in maybe 2 or 3 sentences. According to you, or maybe to all of us, it is the kids who are at the helm of all the stakeholders. And definitely, undoubtedly, if they are taken care of, everything else is taken care of. So as a leader, with her vision and her experience, she strongly believes that we have to ensure kids are taken care. For that, a leader should have an open-mindedness, and they should be lifelong learners. If they have that kind of thought process, definitely the leadership will undoubtedly ensure that it transforms the vision into reality. One more point ma'am very clearly said is, there should be a clarity of vision, and we should not be imposing our vision, rather being open enough to accept the other's opinions and views also. So with that kind of leadership, undoubtedly the change will not be a challenge to any one of us. Now, having heard the personal reflection from a leader, now let's go into resilient leadership, especially in the times of disruption. So this is my final question, but there are two panelists who are missing. If I have time, maybe it will be an open question. Anyone can take it up from there. So let's explore resilience, how leaders and institutions stay strong and adaptable during crisis, is what I'm going to ask you. For that, I call upon the panelists, Mrs. Swarna Luthra, Principal of ASN School, Delhi. Ma'am has 30 years of experience in the field of education. Throughout her journey, she has made remarkable contributions in designing and successfully implementing integrated curricula, pioneering innovative pedagogical strategies, and leading project-based learning initiatives. Her efforts have constantly aimed at nurturing environmental consciousness, social responsibility, cultural sensitivity, and global citizenship. Among our learners, while equipping them with the vital 21st century skills and competency, she is also an eloquent speaker, which we are going to witness in a short while. She has been frequently invited to share her expertise on at various national and international platforms, where her insights into pedagogy and global education has been widely accepted and appreciated too. Actively engaged in championing sustainable environmental education, which is the need of the hour. Everyone is talking about SDG. A relentless effort towards education, community development, nationalism, and sustainable practice have been recognized with various awards and honors by leading education organizations. Now, my question to you is, how can leaders balance crisis management with building long-term resilience and future readiness?
Thank you so much for so elaborative introduction. My namaskar to everybody. And before I start with, I was just jotting down about leaders. We know that leaders are, they are among all of us. If I see a teacher is also a leader. And anybody whosoever exhibit those qualities, they are the leaders. I was just jotting it down in lifelong learning. Everybody whosoever we find, it has taken up the chart for lifelong learning, then definitely they are the successful persons in their life. Then empathetic. Because my question would answer all these things in between. Empathetic. That's a major part we play as a leader. Then agile in decision making. Because when we find in the times of COVID also, we know that what has happened. It was 19th of March that was declared that from tomorrow onwards, no schooling. Nobody is going to come physically in the school. And within 24 hours, believe me, we were the one that we started on 21st, the online classes. Because it was 12th class, we started early because of the board exams, so we started online teaching to them. And it was because of we were able to train the teacher in February itself. I don't know what has happened. It really it clicked me that why not I go by the things that each teacher be teaching online. It was in 19th March, it was declared, but before that in February itself, I trained my teachers before that. And it was coming up like that. Then Wednesday, because in Delhi it's a system, every second day it was coming on. Today it is climate change happening. Then it was be in holidays, and n number of holidays government was declaring. So I thought, why not we do such things so that in the long term of time we are able to sustain the way we want. And parents are so upset because the working parents, they are telling that, ma'am, nobody is there at home to look after that thing. But still, I am telling you, it happened that it was so gradual that none of the parents they face any problem because we trained the parents also during that day. And my senior students, we used to tell the teachers, ma'am, this is the way we can go about. Suppose teachers were finding a difficulty. So within that one day itself, it was whole day we were on screen and we were able to train that now, okay, now this teacher is going to teach other all 150 staff members because it was we were just doing at
There's now social science teachers, now maths teachers, now that thing. We were able to do that. And so agile is the most important thing that's required for crisis management. Then dedicated and determined persons. We know that within the school setup, if the person is not dedicated or not determined, then we really lose the impact of leadership. And then empower others. Major part for crisis management is if the person, the middle team is being empowered, I feel 50% of the job is completed. But the middle leaders are so much acquainted about the systems and the clarity is there and all the stakeholders are on board. So that's a major part, empowering everybody in the school. First the middle leadership, then the middle leadership are going to empower the lead teachers. And then major part is then R of the leader is resilient. A leader has to be resilient in their own way. Then only he or she can bring resilience in the whole sector. And it starts from top to bottom. It's not never from bottom to top. It's always whatever the quality, whatever the value we want to imbibe in the school system, that has to be top to bottom. Suppose it's there. Suppose we find a person is coming at the gate also. And we find when the leader is a bit harsh, then you will find the guard also will be harsh. That practice I have seen those things. And whenever we find, we visit many schools and we know that such system would prevail. And whenever we find that leader is quite empathetic, then you will find that God would also find out the way that how can I support the person who has visited this school. So these things are between, and the S, leaders, because we all are leaders sitting here, we create self-directed learners. And that's a major part, resilience and creating self-directed learners. So I feel in this 21st century, we know that we all are the teachers who were trained in 20th century. We all were trained in 20th century and we need to bring back all those things. Although the Gurukul system was a skill development system, but at the same time, we need to develop the attitude within ourselves that adaptability is more important in the crisis management. And without adaptability, whosoever is not able to adapt with this surrounding, whatsoever is coming up, for example, AI is there these days. We know that it might be a crisis for somebody that AI will obsolete us, it's like that. But if we say that, it's an opportunity to really come up with those skills which are required. When our children, they are more trained with AI and the teacher is not trained, the teacher is going to be obsoleted. So if the crisis is to be managed, rather it's not a crisis, it's an opportunity to learn and come back, and it's a survival of the fittest tool that would prevail here. So I feel a leader can really manage all the things if the person is empowering the middle leaders and at the same time coming up with, suppose climate change is there. We know that why not with the climate chapter, because I have integrated SDGs into the curriculum. And all the SDGs, we know that the climate change is the third climate threat is the 13th SDG. And if we suppose teaching the water, the climate and all the things, if we are integrating all those small questionnaires with them, and suppose a passage is also there, then class-wise we can develop those curriculum because we have done in our school, and which nursery grade child is also aware of that I need to protect the climate by my small ways. And that can only happen, suppose say water is there. And within the classroom system, when my parent is coming and telling, man, you need to shave karte pani on it. My child used to say, Papa, you're wasting water. So that's the example that I get it and I feel comfortable that at least my child is able to really speak in terms of that they are the leaders for tomorrow. And if the school setup is like that, they are training the children in such a manner that each and every stakeholder is being taken into account and everybody is trained in not just by pushing it, this, do that, not in that way, but in a playful manner, experiential learning manner, they definitely will be able to manage all the crises that are going to come. And at the same time, I will say that all the skills are important. We know that. This bookish knowledge will be kept aside. Whatsoever the pen, paper test, everything would be aside. And whatever the modules we are going to create in our own setup, these will be lifelong things that will be resisted, that how to protect environment, how to respect others. And today also I was just celebrating grandparents. I was discussing with them that, see, this is India. India means Bharat. Bharat, जो कि जाना जाता है for values.
And if those values are at home, that we are respecting our elders, then we'll be able to sustain the legacy of Bharat. But if we are just putting all those things that why my parent has spoken this to my grandchild, and something like that, it happens at home. Because children, they are just let the no, where single family system is being prevailing these days. We know that. Children, they are not given the chance to interact with their grandparents. We find very much such cases. So I told them that why not we have, suppose they are living in any state or something, why not you just make it a point that 15 days, after at least 15 days, you must meet them so that that legacy must be retained within us. And the intergenerational gap that is being maintained these days, why not engulf that gap? Together we can bring all those crises to opportunities, and we need to make our Bharat a new Bharat that was prevailing in past. Thank you so much, ma'am.
So, putting your thoughts again in few sentences. Resilience actually comes in when you try to empower the middle group of your management, whatever it's said. And it is always important to take up challenges as opportunities, not look at them as challenges. If we can do that, definitely it will help everyone. And we also need to be very empathetic, agile, dedicated, as well as determined. That is where we can build in a long-term, resilient, and a future readiness also. So putting everything together, I think we are telling time is up, and showing the teeth constantly. So I'm going to wrap up a one small sentence at the ending. So together, whatever we have discussed, we can say that leading change towards future readiness is continuous. It's not something which is going to stop. And it requires a lot of collaboration from everyone at large. And resilience is a journey, not a destination. It is continuous. It's going to go on. Thank you so much for each and every one of you for being the part of the panel. I must say one of the best panelists ever I have witnessed myself. Because as panelists, there's always a lot of heated up discussions also which we have witnessed. I have witnessed personally. Thank you once again. Hoping that
we
you guys
all agree to each other.
Yes, very true.
On everybody's behalf, I would like to thank you for really moderating it so well. Thank you so much, Shanti ji, for I feel you made us comfortable and were able to speak the way we want. Thank you so much.
So wishing all of you a great evening and wishing you good luck as leaders, that you're going to turn out to be more resilient and bring a stronger India at large. Thank you, Ichana.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I'd now like to request Ms. Mary Shanti Priya, Principal, Vista International School, Hyderabad, to summarize the today's roundtable about leadership and change management, presenting strategies for leading institutional change toward future readiness. This was a key session for transformative leaders and for which I invite all the expert panelists, starting from Ms. Mary Shanti Priya, Principal, Vista International School, Hyderabad. Let's welcome her with a huge round of applause. Ms. Swarnima Luthra, Principal, ASN Senior Secondary School, Delhi. Mrs. Madhu Meni, Principal, Jayashree Periwal High School, Jaipur. Ms. Anmol Shah, Curriculum and Instruction Coordinator, Anand Niketan, Ahmedabad. Mr. Rakesh Sharma, Consultant, Udgam School for Children, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Please come on the stage. Ms. Sonia Gulia, Vice Principal, Shivalik Public School, Chandigarh. Mrs. Deepika Sharma, Principal, Maxford School, Dwarka, New Delhi. Dr. Jayita Ganguly, Principal, SPK Jain, Futuristic Academy, Kolkata, West Bengal. Dr. Ashish Mittal, Principal, Indrapuram Public School, Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. And Mrs. Shweta Jasuja, Officiating Principal, Delhi Public School, Lahore, Punjab. So I'd like to once again invite all the expert panelists to come on the stage and request Ms. Mary Shanti Priya, Principal, Vista International School, to summarize the roundtable discussion. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. I said good evening. I still could not hear it. Good evening, everyone. I know we are at the fag end of the day. All of us are exhausted. Maybe some of you have come from your school. But let's keep the tempo and the energy going on because we are all educators. So before I move ahead, giving the closing of our discussion, I would first like to thank Mr. Brahmam, the brain behind the Brainfeed. Can we put our hands together, thanking Mr. Brahmam for bringing us all together, and Mr. Premchand, the Cfore, who has been giving ranking to all our schools. Can we join our hands for them also too? So I would prefer to start with a quote which says that change is the end result of true learning. Very rightly said. Change is something which is pertinent, which is always the end result of true learning. Today our discussion was about leadership and change management in education, exploring how schools can and institutions can be future ready. During our discussion, we highlighted that future ready schools are not just prepared for the present, they are agile and adaptable for an uncertain tomorrow, which all of us have proved during the COVID times. At the heart of this journey is always an effective leadership, inspiring trust, guiding stakeholders, and navigating challenges with vision and empathy. So it's very important. Each one of you who are sitting over here as leaders are equally very important. Can we clap ourselves together, please? We learned that resistance to change is always natural, but with clarity, communication, and understanding, it can be transformed into a momentum for innovation. Strategic planning plays a key role, ensuring that global best practices are aligned with local realities and that change initiatives are sustainable. Technology and future skills were emphasized as critical. Schools must prepare students for careers that they don't exist, while ensuring equity and inclusivity is accessible. Like earlier, Dr. Mahesh has mentioned too, measuring impact is essential. Gathering feedback from students, teachers, and parents help institutions continuously to improve. Collaboration, both within and with external partners, strengthens transformation, while personal reflection ensures leaders remain adaptable and grow from experience. Finally, resilience was identified as crucial. Institutions that can withstand disrupt emerge stronger, more agile, and truly future ready. The key message and a takeaway for all of us is future readiness is a continuous journey. It's not a destination. A journey of learning, adapting, and leading with a purpose. So let's all join together in the journey to become more resilient and more future ready. Thank you, each and every one of us, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you so much. Have a great week. In case anyone else is interested in adding on to it, you can please.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, whole panel, the opportunity to speak here. Actually, I was just discussing about who are the leaders. L stands for lifelong learners, the persons who are creating lifelong learners. We know that. And then E stands for empathetic. We are creating empathetic leaders in between, and each leader is responsible for creating more leaders, middle leaders, and the students also who are empathetic. And then agile in decision making. A leader is always ready for the fast decision and accurate decision. And at the same time, if I look at, then D stands for determined and dedicated person. We know that each one of us are so much dedicated to our work that everything that's happening in the school, whatever help is happening, we are all aware of. And then E, once again E, then we are the persons who really explore, and we are the persons who empowers our team. So we know that with empowerment, naturally the leadership is being segregated and it's diversified, and each and every person in the school is quite aware of that, how to take all stakeholders on the board and we can just see to that how can we manage the crisis whenever they are there. And then R stand for resilient. And person who is not resilient is not a leader. We know that. So I feel with this leadership policy, we each one of us really can bring difference in our schools. And I know that this fraternity who is sitting here, they all are quite equipped with. And really thanks to Brainfeed for giving us the opportunity once again for our deliberations. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for sharing your valuable time and wisdom with us. And I would request Dr. Kishore Kumar, Director, St. John's School, Chennai, and Lieutenant General Arjun Ray to kindly come on stage. And everybody, I'll be requesting all of you to please put your hands together to felicitate our distinguished guests who are already on the dais. And pictures are a lifetime moment. It should be captured well. And I'll be requesting all the panelists to kindly stay here on the stage so that we can take a group picture also. Everybody, your claps are indeed required here. May I request all of you to please put your hands together for this wonderful moment. There is a wonderful saying in Hindi, Guru Gobind do khare, kake lagu paye, balihari Guru aapki Govind diyo bataye. That means Guru is, the teacher is the essence who lead us toward the God and all the wisdom we have. Thank you very much each one of you for sharing your valuable time with us. And ladies and gentlemen, post this we will be moving toward our awards. The Cfore School Ranking Awards 2025. And somebody from the Gurgaon who came here by the cab, they left their keys in the cab, which is secured with us at the reception. Please collect it. If you are that somebody who left their keys in the cab, then please go to the registration counter and collect your keys. Please check your keys. Somebody from the Gurgaon booked the cab till here and they forgot their key in the cab, and now the keys are secure at the registration desk. They are very less clap and they are very rare individual who are understanding their assignment and putting their hand very slightly. Please do the needful. As I mentioned earlier, pictures are lifetime memories. It should be captured well. And ladies and gentlemen, post this, we will be moving toward the Cfore School Ranking Awards 2025. Please be prepared for the same.